Magnus does. And how about this? I see another X. I'm always tempted to disbelieve the computer when it reacts so strongly to a move like this. Has some sense to me. It still keeps pressure on the pawn 2 squares above it, and now adds some pressure to the pawn 2 squares to the left of it.
Yeah, very logical move. Maybe bringing the white knight forward was slightly more accurate, but it wasn't anything concrete, game-changing necessarily.
So with incredible material imbalance like this, Vincent, just in terms of like the actual pieces you have to work with, right? More minor pieces on one side, more, more heavy pieces on the other. Obviously, the queen for white. How does that change the approach on either side of the board? So first, I'll put you in Prag's shoes. Like, what are the pieces I'm looking to attack? How am I trying to coordinate those pieces, knowing that I have fewer of them, but they are generally more powerful in each of the punches they pack?
Yeah, I think here it's not so much about coordinating, but simply trying to not let black coordinate the pieces, because 3 pieces, it's like more pieces are usually more difficult to coordinate. So I think once black gets a safe king and the coordination, the pieces will be stronger than the queen. So for now, the advantage is that the pieces are still a bit tied up and mainly the king. So for example, now rook f3 I actually think was an attacking move, because he was planning on going knight h5, rook g8, and having the option of playing rook g3 to trade that last defensive piece, which I'm not sure is great here, but like generally I think that's an important idea to mention. And yeah, I think so far it's going quite well for him. I mean,
he's gone for it.
Yeah,
he's gone for him.
That idea is on the board.
Knight h5 he played, but I'm not sure rook g3 will do anything. Maybe it's time to pick up that pawn. Although he needs to be a bit careful with ideas like knight c4, because bishop c5 check could be following and so on. But I think rook d3 could be, if it works, it's a decent move. But yeah, again, it's getting very tricky. I mean, also black could start attacking suddenly out of nowhere with moves like knight e4, bishop c5 check. So you see, you really have to be very careful with those pieces. And yeah, once Magnus gets to activate them, it will be difficult.
Prag's going for Magnus's king. He has to go. He has to try to get rid of the defender and combine the knight and queen for an attack. So rook g3, trying to get that rook out of the way. I think it's super dangerous for Magnus now to trade the rooks. You really need that to defend the g7 pawn. You might just lose on the spot after rook takes rook.
Yeah, now he will have to move something to g5, I think.
Let's show that one time, and there's just no good way to defend checkmate in one.
I think bishop g5 should be the move. Like knight g5 maybe works, but it feels very dangerous.
So either way, someone has to...
like knight g5, there's knight f6, and I really dislike giving that bishop as black.
I'll just put that on the board. If the white knight jumps in, black has to pretty much take this knight. And okay, you survive, but no dark squared control anymore.
Yeah, this is just, again, pretty one-sided game, I would say here. I mean, there's decent chances for black to survive, but it's certainly not going to be fun.
So you need the bishop pair. Magnus thinking, though.
Yeah, but bishop g5 could also lose on the spot, so that's...
It's interesting to me that you lean towards bishop g5. I have the benefit of the engine right here. The engine prefers knight g5 by over 0.8.
Then the position is just bad. That's
okay, yeah, so that's indicative of how tough a
that's
position
the problem.
it is.
Like, knight g5 is a move that Magnus knows he will be worse, so that's why he doesn't want to play it.
Gotcha.
Bishop g5 is the move you want to play, but if it doesn't work, of course, it's a problem.
And how difficult is this position with almost just 2 minutes on the clock for both these players? The one who's defending for Magnus, it's definitely harder, no?
Yeah, I think after knight g5, knight f6, white will have a rather easy life. But after bishop g5, it will be, I mean, okay, engine says it's bad for black, but I don't exactly see why. It's just going to be a mess.
So from a human perspective, you think bishop g5 is the move that a grandmaster would want to make at this point?
For sure, yeah, he wants to make it. Maybe there's like a very good reason not to, but if it works, he will surely want to play that.
Bishop g5, it's calling for a rook, takes e8 check.
Yeah, knight e8. And,
Magnus, he's about to take his decision. It's between the bishop and the knight. Which one will Magnus choose?
Well, yeah, and he has to make a decision down below 2 minutes. They're only playing with 10 seconds of increment.
I have a feeling Magnus missed this whole idea with bringing the rook across to g3. He could have stopped this by parking his own pawn on h5 with the rook on h8, keeping the white knight stuck on the g3 square. But okay, he does block with the bishop. The move you pointed out there, Vincent, as being more desirable, but Pragg quickly trades rooks. We'll see this whole variation play out. He takes with the bishop instead.
Just want to get rid of that d pawn that Magnus has. It's so scary, especially now that it's threatening to move on to d2. Does white have time to pick it up?
Probably has to before it moves one square further.
Yeah, I think you have to, but yeah, it's crazy that the pieces don't really get active. I mean, this knight on h5 is such a good piece.
And it's funny, right? Knight on one side of the board and the queen on the other, but the attacks are combined.
Yeah. And the bishop on g5 is the problem. Like, it has to defend. That's the bishop black would need to create counterplay and some attack. So, yeah, even like I'm thinking in my mind that moves like d6 could start to be interesting just to open everything up, and there might be big threats coming on the board.
Well, so Pragg playing well then into his win conditions here after giving Magnus Carlsen maybe that one ray of hope. He's now looking to shut out all the light.
Yeah, but it will be a tough game. I think it's far from clear or over.
Yeah.
But
Magnus is so good with pieces. Like, he loves giving up his queens. There's been so many occasions. It's been queen for 3 pieces, queen for a rook and a piece, and he maneuvers it in his direction. So next few moves might be critical.
And he's reaching for his rook, puts it in front of the queen. He wants to infiltrate on the 7th or the 8th rank, really putting trouble for Magnus there. The king completely exposed. I want to ask you, Vincent, Pragg, he won against Magnus in the round robin. He's the one pushing for the win here right now. What do you think he's being able to do better? Because Magnus, on paper, always a favorite.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I would say that, while Magnus still is playing well in this tournament, for his standards, it's a quite poor performance, which doesn't mean that he's playing bad. It's just in comparison to his usual level. I mean, still, nearly everyone on the planet would be glad to play at that level, but I think for his standards, it's not what he's used to. And yeah, I think Pragg, he's creating more chaos. I mean, Magnus usually is incredible when it comes to these technical parts of the game and when he has a little bit of, calmness in everything. But here it's just getting so messy all the time that it's difficult for him to use his big strength. I think that's what works out quite well for Pragg.
The good news for Pragg as well is by this point he's probably forgotten the fact that he blundered a piece earlier, that he just hung a bishop. He feels like he's locked back in, and it looked like Magnus was about to make a move. Was he touching his king?
Yep.
He
And
did?
there it goes. It slides up a square.
But he changed his mind because he put the king on a different square first.
He was going to put it on e7. I'll just put this on the board. Magnus was going to put his king in the center, but then he realized that the white queen swoops in with the check, and this is just devastating. This is almost game over on the spot. So he had to move his king, not to the square he wanted, but still looks pretty scary. That black king out in the open.
I don't know, like queen e5 still is an interesting move, but then there's knight d2, but probably there's just nothing if the king moves to, let's say, e1.
Few checks here.
I think queen e5. Also, the problem is that, Magnus is great with pieces, but so far he can't really move them, so he doesn't really get to that. Yeah, he played queen e5.
Well, with some life still in this game, let's take our audience back over to Hikaru Nakamura and Wesley So, because
Sideways because there's a checkmate on g7. Actually, Magnus can't hold that pawn. You're about to lose it.
This just looks over. Like, how do you defend? You've been fully infiltrated here. The white queen, white rook have conquered Black's lines, and look at the clock as well. How do you hold this with 15 seconds? You need a miracle.
Oh, I was thinking come back with the knight, but he comes back with the bishop. He's allowing it.
Yeah, he will block with his own bishop if the white queen takes a pawn with check. But we were talking about the importance of the dark squared bishop. White can take that bishop off the board in that variation and keep the attack going.
Yeah, even some moves like just rook a8 next. I mean, you have time. It's like, once the bishop is pinned, there's not even real threats against the king. I think you can just go queen h7, bishop g7, and let's say rook a8. Just try to bring that rook to the 7th rank as well, and then...
That's just sadistic, Vincent.
it's just Black feels so paralyzed in this position. No good options. And there you can see it. Queen snaps up the pawn. Bishop will drop back to defend the king, but to no avail. The minor pieces are traded off.
Okay, if the Pragg can't finish it off directly, at least the game is gonna go on. Of course, position is winning for white, but...
Maybe some checks. Later the white h pawn might become very powerful. But Magnus surviving for now.
Yeah, I thought maybe rook a8 was kind of pretty annoying for black, but...
Rabbit he comes in with a threat, a check on e6, and start marching the h-pawn. Magnus surviving, but Pragg gaining on the advantage move by move as well.
Yeah, I think rook g6. Maybe he has to go.
Get some time on the clock, repeat once.
I don't think you'll repeat. I think his idea is to go queen h8, because then rook g8, there's queen e5, and we get to that square again.
After winning a pawn.
Bishop e5, sorry.
Ooh,
Okay, maybe here it's actually fine, but I blundered that one nevertheless.
Yeah.
So he's trying to be safe.
Black has some
But this will be work. This is not... I mean, it's winning, and it's also quite safe, because, you know, now the dark square bishop is gone. There are not that many threats, but it will be still some work left to do.
Nice geometry there by the queen, you know, from one side, targeting a pawn on the other side, winning pawns with checks.
Magnus down to 8 seconds.
Oof, make a move. About to lose on time, 4. Oh, make a move.
1 second on the clock.
Ooh.
Just slides the rook back up to 12 seconds. Pragg, though, not too much time to his name either. And this is where, under time trouble, you could make a slip up. We've seen one-move blunders in the tournament so far.
Pragg has stolen another pawn. He now has 4 pawns versus just 1. So the queen and the kind of knight and bishop, the 3 pieces, they balance each other out, but the 3 pawns could decide this game later. The white king very safe on dark squares, now that the dark squared bishop for black is gone. Yeah, very hard to imagine black holding this. Like, the knights will never move the rest of the game, right? They just have to protect each other. Magnus moves his king.
Some queen checks.
Yeah.
All of them looking tempting from the center of the board, from the other side. And then you just got to find the time to start marching up the board with your pawns.
Might do it now. You might start pushing one pawn up.
You can also go for some of these like rook b6, trying to win material. Might also be working. I think he has just, as long as he doesn't blunder anything huge, like either the queen with a fork or some mating attack, there's no way he's not winning this.
Magnus needs a blunder in one almost to win this. It's a miracle that's going to save black. But we've seen miracles happen before in Vegas.
That's exactly right. That's what I said. We've seen the one-move blunders. Everything's a possibility here on the Las Vegas stage, especially when you're working with only 10 seconds to your name.
Yeah, but also Pragg has become really good with increment, like playing only on increments high.
Ooh, watch out. Checkmate in 1, threatened.
But I think h3 is a move he's going to manage to find.
Yeah, it's a trick on the board, but there's mate in 3 on the board.
Whoa.
White.
Okay.
Magnus is getting mated. He's going to offer his hand. Black king is going to be caught on the edge of the board, and there we go. Praggnanandhaa takes the win.
Wow. Can you believe it? I mean, you better believe it, because he already did this once in the group stage, and now he's doing it again against Magnus Carlsen in the first game of the day. Praggnanandhaa, after getting knocked down to the lower bracket.